I arrived pre-dawn on the Nebine Creek and set up a hide, then lay in wait for the locals to make their pilgrimage for their morning drink. The eager arrive before the sun rises, beating the crowds. This lone fish, probably the last of its kind in the creek, gulps for air as its home is drunk. When the golden glow of the sun engulfs the horizon, the bird life begin to appear. Various parrots are the most spectacular of the morning's visitors. All brightly coloured. Some come singly, others in flocks. They are a delight to see. Crested pigeons are also quite numerous. This kangaroo's a little different from the rest, choosing to drink in the creek. I think she may have come from a long distance away and needed to cool her paws. "20 minutes later, she's still drinking. New arrivals continue throughout the morning. They are always on guard for the slightest sound, wary of predators and the paparazzi. Although close up, it looks like there's still a lot of water. But the sad fact is, this is all that's left in the local area on the Nebine Creek, and it's fast disappearing. It's midway through the week, so I've got plenty of water spare, so it's time to have a nice hot shower. Just letting this warm up. Well, a couple of litres of water later, I feel like $1 million. Nice and fresh, reinvigorated. It's time to head off and explore some more. I believe this is Hillview Homestead. It's one of the acquisitions Parks made to add to the estate. Beautiful little 3-room hut with a kitchen out the back. It's still in pretty good condition. Just some of the termites are starting to knock out the rear kitchen area. But otherwise, very ornate decoration inside on the walls and roof. Would have been pretty flash, I'd say, for a homestead. This is the old meat house, pretty typical of a homestead. It had lots of mesh around the sides and fine fly mesh to stop the flies getting in. They could hang the meat up to dry out and then probably salt it to store it. "80 metres back from the hut, got the old dump site. Loads of interesting stuff here, from the bottles, cans, various farming equipment. Looks like an old model Ford, early one, along with the 2 wheel arches and the chassis, and bits of diff. Interesting to see though, some of the things they used in their daily life. Plenty of nice old bottles here too, mostly smashed. You can tell the age of the site too by the aluminium can style at the top. Good place to have a little poke around. Ironic, isn't it? If someone were to dump stuff here today, it would be called an illegal dumping. And now it's like a protected site of cultural significance. One generation's trash is another generation's treasure. Here's the base of a bottle from 1957. Pretty typical for old bottles to have the year of manufacture on the base. Gives a bit of an idea of how long it's been around. Here's an earlier bottle intact from 1950 from the New South Wales Bottle Company. Well, I've got a new winner in the bottle competition. It's 1938 now. You just tell by the style of the bottle. Look how thick this glass is. That's really old school. Just starting to get a bit of crystallization on it as well. Very nice. The Homestead really is just a tiny speck on these vast, arid plains. I just stopped for a moment to get a shot and looked over off the track and found another bottle. This one though, same New South Wales Bottle Company, but it says 1920 on the side. This must be a really old one. Just so heavy, incredible. So a stockman is probably out here and having a few drinks, mustering up the cattle or sheep. Threw the bottle down. Bit of history right here. Country out here is a lot more rocky, very harsh. I return to Nebine Creek in the afternoon and find these feral cattle, along with the usual suspects. The pastoral fencing, once great at keeping bovines at bay, now hinders the movement of some of the locals. Another pair of feral cattle come to drink, causing the kangaroos to vacate quickly. This kangaroo takes a shortcut through the creek to make it to the other side. Its strong tail used like a third leg for support. Upon reaching the other side, it notices something unusual hidden on the bank. Paparazzi! The stragglers have their final drinks before heading on home at nightfall.
Good morning, another sunrise. Beautiful night, full moon, very bright out here. Today I'll be heading up to the final campgrounds at Nebine Creek, last campground. Let's see what's there.
Just look how harsh this country is here. All this rocky sand country. Don't know what the animals are eating, because some places just almost no grass. It's just the thorny bushes, which are incredibly painful to step on and get near. They must get loads of burrs in their fur. But judging from some of the animal tracks I've seen, the trails, they spread out quite a big distance, and spending a couple of days there by a waterhole, observing. Some wallabies might spend 20 minutes drinking, so maybe they're heading out great distances just to find feed and then coming back in. There's definitely not much here. Here's a new skull of one of the local residents, the feral Piggy Wiggy. Some nice tusks there on it. Quite a strong design, these pigs, what they can do. According to the ranger, most of the feral pig population died out quite some time back when the drought sort of started. And it's mostly the goats they've got still, although they're down in number. According to him, they've culled nearly 50,000 goats in the time he's been here, which is quite a lot. So I saw a few cattle last night coming down to the waterhole to drink, so there's still a few ferals in here. But for the most part, I've mostly seen wallabies and kangaroo, with a few emu tracks around, so the locals are up in number, which is great. Incredible animals, pigs. Introduced and quite destructive, particularly up Cape York region, where they really get into the native vegetation, root around, just destroy vast areas of landscape. Plus, as well as along beaches, they dig up turtle nests and eat the eggs. So let's put this one back down and keep on heading. I saw this grand tree from the track, so stopped in to take a look. Has these beautiful big hollows, so I thought there might be some wildlife inside. And there are a few scats right on the edge, perhaps maybe bat or something, I'm not sure. But I found a sad discovery on the other side. This wallaby must have sought out shelter from the heat. Managed to wedge itself inside this hollow. That's where it died. There's no water around here, probably, except back where the last water hollow was. So it's one of the unlucky ones, in the wrong place, wrong time. This is its last place of refuge. It's still mostly intact. I can see something's been having a gnaw on it. There's also some goat horns here, which is interesting. Not sure why they're here. Pretty sad, but that's life out here at the moment. I've arrived at the Nebine Creek camping area, which is along the Nebine Creek, also dry at the moment. But I'll show you on the map where I am and where I've been the last few days since my last update. So I started here at number 12 and worked my way down to Hillview house at 17. Nice old homestead. Worked my way up past the Tarry Flat and checked out number 10, which is on the Nebine Creek as well, but it still has water there. And that's where most of the wildlife I've seen thus far were. So after a couple of days exploring that, continued up today, made it out here to the Nebine Creek campground. So I've seen a nice sort of stretch throughout the middle of the park. I probably won't go back along this top track. I think I'll just keep working my way out now, check out the Tego Spring, and then off to Cunnamulla. And that would be my 8-day trip into Culgoa Floodplains National Park. I'm hungry for a damper, so cook up my own special mix with added coconut flour for extra flavour and aroma. Damper's ready finally, 2.5 hours later. Absolutely beautiful. Nice and hot. Have to let it cool down just a little and I'll get stuck into it. I was just getting my shower bag ready again for a shower. I spilled some water on the outside. I put it out here to heat up, and all these bees have tracked down the water and started swarming all over the bits I've dropped in the shower head. Just trying to get any bit of moisture they can for their hive. You see the little tongues coming out and licking up all the droplets. I guess I'll have to wait a bit longer before I can have my shower, before they bugger off. The funny thing is, I've put a tray out here for them, but they don't seem to be very interested in it. Oh, a beautiful shower. Only had a few bees join me. Looks like the message got out there and the rest of them found the tray, so gets them away from my car at least. So just a quiet day in camp today, just to relax. I spot this lace monitor, also known as a goanna, crossing through camp. When I went over closer, it scrambled up this tree. After a few minutes looking me up and down, it decides I'm no threat and begins the descent. Goannas have a varied diet, including insects, reptiles, small mammals, and birds and their eggs. Goannas are a highly prized bush tucker food for Aboriginal peoples. This one would make quite the hearty meal. The bird life is surprisingly plentiful near camp, despite my inability to find any water nearby. I found this beautiful little python just by the base of a tree just near the camp, looking around at some of the trees at night. I was wondering where all the lizards were, and they come out at night time. It's just much cooler now. I guess the snakes come out too, hunting them. A few beautiful geckos around. They're just really quick though, so it's hard to get a shot of them. Must be out hunting some of these crickets, I'd say. Here's that line in the sand I was talking about earlier, where back then there you have all this grey dust sand country, and then it suddenly changes right here, and you've got this red sand country. I just wonder what the geology is underneath that causes this. Something that's more iron rich, I guess. I thought I'd take a trip up to Myola before heading out. It must be a site of an old station. Haven't seen any ruins yet, but along the track I've come across this freestanding water. There's loads of bird life around here and plenty of wallabies in the surrounding country. That's the first time I've actually seen water that isn't in a creek itself. It's very lush down this little corner though. It's right on the border of the park. Well, I found this ruin here that looks like it might be Myola Station. I'm not sure, it might just be a little bit of a work area for them, but there's loads of old water drums, some cattle yards, and then this looks like an old fireplace oven here. And just over there, it's got a dam and a windmill, so looking a lot like the proper place. Let's just take a look around. From the bottles, they range from around 1957 up to the 70s, so it had a bit of a use there. Plenty of these old door handles and keys. This sheet metal design has the same design as Hillview Homestead has inside. So this would have been cladding on the inside of a building of some sort. The old Southern Cross windmill still turning. They're built to last, these things. I'd say from the looks of the hoses, it pumped water from the dam up towards this homestead or hut. Another cast iron stovetop. I have a lighthouse on this side, so it must be the brand. Lighthouse stovetops or something. Well, I found the jackpot. Here's 3 old car wrecks, old classics. I don't know what this is, but it looks very old school. Still got some of the original rubber. It's incredible. We go on about how we need 4-wheel drives to get into some of these places, but back in the day they did it in old 2-wheel drive cars and trucks. I just gotta love those classic curves. Just don't make them like that anymore.
This is the remains of an English Thornycroft Type A1 truck.
You'll see areas like this around the place that have all been cut, all the trees at a certain height. I'd say that's probably to construct all these fence lines around the place, or maybe for firewood. But anywhere where there's probably a fence line going, there'll be things like this happening.
Before departing on this trip, I sent in my job resignation. Life's too short. We don't know how long we've got. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life being unfulfilled every day. What am I going to do? I don't know. For now, I'm just going to roam, travel, see Australia, live my some days today, and hopefully, somewhere along the way, be inspired. Find a new passion, something I can devote myself to for the next phase of my life.
And that concludes my 8-day trip in the Culgoa Floodplains National Park. It's been an awesome trip, a wonderful 8 days. I only saw the park ranger twice, but no one else is in the park. So I've been alone that whole time. So if you really enjoy places that are a bit more remote and quieter, come to Culgoa and check it out. Now I'm very lucky that there was still water in the park in a few places, so the wildlife is still around. Hopefully the drought breaks soon, because I don't know where the animals are going to go to once these last few places dry out. There's not much else remaining. So if you've enjoyed this video and would like to help support the creation of more videos, please consider becoming a patron. Click on the Patreon button on the side now. Also, if you'd like to follow along on my journey and future travels, be sure to click the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching.